How do I actually keep accounts? How do I keep a record of what my business is generating?
This is probably the most important aspect of running a business once you started. 10, 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't have online bookkeeping. So by and large, you'd keep an old ledger book. And that was a pain for most people because you'd keep the ledger book, but it didn't really give you much by way of information. Nowadays, with things like Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, Free Agent, there's loads of them. They're fantastic. So they are a way for you to link your bank account, invoice through them, see who's paid you, chase up your debtors, and hopefully at the end of the week and at the month, you'll know how your business has done, whether you're a sole trader or a limited company. You'll get all sorts of financial statements, and you'll be able to know how well your business is doing, who owes you what at the end of the week or of the month, who do you owe money to, what's your cash looking like. So that's the beauty of managing your records with online bookkeeping. But the one thing I'd say is make sure you get it set up correctly, because when it's set up incorrectly, untangling that at year end by and large for your accountant will be quite messy. So make sure you learn it and you know what you're doing with it before you start doing it, because it's a pain afterwards. But they're fantastic when they're set up and run well.
So one of the things you hear a lot when you go to events is people talking about profit and loss and cash flow forecasts. What do the terms actually mean? What impact does it have for me as a business?
So we now hear of these a lot more because they're now so much more accessible with things like online bookkeeping. So what's a profit and loss? That's the most common one you're going to want to use. That's one of the two most common ones. And a profit and loss account is very simple. It looks at a particular period in time and it says, how much money have you earned? What have you spent and what have you ended up with in terms of profit? There's loads of it. There's a gross profit, there's net profit. But by and large, it's how well have you performed over a period. That could be a week, a month, a quarter, or a year. And it's looking at your performance over that period. With a balance sheet, that's a snapshot at a particular period. So at your year end, at your quarter end, who owes you how much? Things like that's where cash comes into it. What are your receivables? What do people owe you at that point? Who do you owe a lot of money to at that point or a little bit of money to at that point? So is your P&L, it looks like you've got all this profit. You've got a great amount of profit. But if it looks like no one's actually paid you, then that profit doesn't mean a lot because you don't have the cash in the bank. So that's why it's really important to be on top of your finances so you can see both how much money you've made and actually is it in your account. So that's the balance sheet. And finally, you also have a cash flow statement, very similar, kind of an amalgamation of the both, where it looks like what cash has come in, what's gone out, and accordingly being able to predict what amount of cash is going to go in and out of your business bank account over the next 3, 6, 12 months.